to be humble, to be kind. It is a giving of the peace in your mind, to a stranger, to a friend, to give in such a way that has no end. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. And to be bold, to be brave, it is the thinking that the heart can still be saved, and the darkness can come quick. The danger's in the anger and in the hanging on to it. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other, nothing more. And tell me what it is that you see, a world that's full of endless possibilities, and heroes don't look like they used to, they look like you do. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other, nothing more. We are how we treat each other, nothing more. We are how we treat each other.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley. I'm Reverend Marcus Liefert, and I'm so glad to be with you on this beautiful August morning celebrating our ingathering, our merging of the waters. Welcome back for those of you who, like me, haven't been around much this summer. Welcome to this beloved community where we are building together at the intersection of art, spirituality, and justice. Welcome, especially if you're visiting for the first time. We hope that no matter who you are or how you make your living, no matter whom you love or how you experience the sacred, you'll feel welcome here in the fullness of your being. If there's anything on your heart this morning that you'd like lifted up in our service, there's a candle at a table at the back of the sanctuary where you're welcome to light a candle and write a message if there's a joy or a sorrow you'd like read aloud. After the service, everyone's invited to make your way all the way across the atrium to the social hall where we have a meal and time for conversation and connection, so stay if you can. Once more, welcome. Let's rise in body or in spirit and sing our first hymn. This is Blue Boat Home.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. My favorites. Buenos dias. Good morning. I'm Sandy Portillo Robbins, and I'll be your worship associate today. Today, we gather to celebrate our annual ritual of water communion with reverence for the waters that sustain life here in Huchiyun, the East Bay. The sacred waters that flow through this land have been honored and cared for over countless generations by the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people. In our part of the bay's watershed, we make our home among the living waters of Codornices Creek, named for the quails that once thrived along its banks. Temescal Creek, whose name echoes the ancient practice of healing in sweat lodges, and Sausal Creek, where willows once lined the waters, offering shelter and nourishment. May we, who are recent arrivals, whose family and culture have drunk from these waters for only a few generations, remember the tragic disruption and destruction colonial culture has wrought in this watershed. May we extend the covenant we have made with one another to build a religious community guided by love and sustained by respectful relationships, to include our relationships with the earth and living waters, and the first peoples who made this place their home. I'd now like to introduce Catherine Jay, our new Director of Family Ministries, to lead us in lighting our chalice this morning.
So before we light our chalice this morning, I want to tell you about a tiny but meaningful new element in worship. Starting with this gathering, worship associates will invite families up each week to light the chalice. Maybe these are families with young children, or grandparents and their grandkids, or a couple who found love later in life, or a chosen family of friends. Family has so many meanings. And we hope this weekly moment celebrates the diversity of our UUCB community and draws everyone into our circle of love. And now I'd like to invite Henry and their parents, Caitlin and Marcus, to light our chalice this morning. Our chalice lighting, fire and water, eternal forces, ancient opposites, welcome all we kindred pilgrim souls here this morning. Just as we all do, our chalice contains multitudes. Look, imagine the trickle of a stream in the flickering of the flame. See a bright blue lake in the circles of the chalice. Conjure up the steady roll of ocean waves in the oil that lights the flame. May our chalice's tiny fire spark our imagination and kindle a renewed sense of welcome in our hearts as we acknowledge that the ocean refuses no river and that we are all each connected to all creation. May it be so. Today's story is called The Journey of a Single Drop, and it requires some audience participation. So if you're on this side of the church, Arlo, my son, is going to help you through. If you're on this side of the church, my wife Elizabeth is going to lead you. Okay. So, my earliest memory was drifting up and up and up in the sky. I felt like there were other things like me that were going up in the sky, and I just kept going up and up and up, and suddenly I had a form. I was a drop, and I realized there were other drops all around me. Whoosh. 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 We came together and became a great, big, wet, puffy, cloudy family. We floated around in the sky for a long time. It felt wonderful. It was awesome. Suddenly, though, we came apart. We drifted, became a drop. I started to fall. It was very exciting. I was going very fast. It was kind of thrilling, but I was also scared. We were all in different parts. All of my big, puffy, cloudy friends were all drops, and we were all falling together. I worried. And then, I fell down to the ground hard. And I discovered something new, something brown and dry. And suddenly I felt thick and muddy. Squelch. 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 But that didn't last long. And before I knew it, I was falling down, down, down into the ground. I just kept falling. All of the other drops that had fallen with me disappeared. They weren't around me. I felt alone and scared and nervous. And I just kept falling. Drip. 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 And suddenly, I slammed up against something pretty hard. I had fallen between a rock and a hard place. It took eons, my friends, eons. I felt like I was there forever, but I was persistent. And then finally, I made it through that hard place. And here we all say, hooray! When I got through the rock and hard place, I met some new drops I'd never seen before. It was a very exciting time. We had a lot of stories to tell each other. One of the drops I met had been on a leaf that was eaten by a deer. Wow. One of them had been inside of a massive thunderstorm. We liked each other so much that we decided to merge. And we became a stream. That's what we decided to call ourselves. And that stream gradually moved from a dark underground into the open air. At this point, I began to stop worrying so much. And our stream met other streams, and we all joined together to become a mighty river. Rush, rush, And my river and other rivers joined together. We just kept merging into a bigger and bigger and bigger body that one of the elder drops called the ocean. It was a huge community of all different kinds of drops that had come from all different kinds of places. New drops emerged all the time from the sky, and other drops went back up. But I had learned that it was okay, there was nothing to be afraid of, because now I understood that no matter where we came from, if we came from a rushing river or a burbling creek or a leaf eaten by a deer, we were all part of something much, much bigger. We were all part of a tremendous whole. And here we say, and we welcome Reverend Marcus to lead us in a rain dance.
Let's bring that journey into our bodies. And I come by, join me in making a sound with your body. And if it doesn't work just the way I do it, make it work for your body. We'll start right over here. You all start just doing this. And just keep doing it till I come back. I want to teach you a song, but I have to catch my breath first. I'll sing a line, you sing it back. The ocean refuses no river, no river. The ocean refuses no river, no river. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Let's do that together. It's the first line twice and the second line twice. The ocean refuses no river, no river. The ocean refuses no river, no river. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
So, water. We drink it every day. Lovely, clean water. It's literally the stuff of life, and we are blessed. But to me, it is so much more. Water to me is also family and community. Think beaches, rivers, lakes, swimming pools, all places we gather, often in community, and sometimes just for solitude. As far back as I can remember, our family trips, and I mean all my family, aunts, uncles, cousins, family friends, etc., it always involved going to a place with water where we could swim. As a child, it was Ensenada, Ocean Beach, the Russian River, Santa Cruz, and Clear Lake. When we lived in El Salvador, anytime there was a holiday, we'd all head out to the beach for a few days. The ocean was considered both sacred and medicinal. I remember my tias saying the ocean cured any ailment, es buena para la salud. That has always stayed with me. As I got older and lived on my own, the ocean was never too far away. When I needed a break, or felt sad or lonely, or even when I felt good, I would drive down to the beach and just walk the shore. I loved breathing in the salt air and feeling the water lapping at my feet. It cleared my head. It made me feel a part of our big, vast universe. How could I be lonely there? These days, I haven't done that so much, but we have started sailing out in the San Francisco Bay. I find the water breathtaking, soothing, and yes, medicinal. I just want to close with these words by John F. Kennedy. I think it explains part of our love for the sea. Here's the quote. "It is an interesting biological fact that all of us have in our veins the exact same percentage of salt in our blood that exists in the ocean, and therefore we have salt in our blood, in our sweat, and in our tears. We are tied to the ocean, and when we go back to the sea, whether it's to sail or to watch it, we are going back from whence we came."
I grew from boy to man along the river. My roots grew tangled with the willow tree. The rocks and sand and mud were my foundation. I thought the water flowed only for me. Always warned, don't fight the river. If you must give her time, she'll bring you in. But times when you're adrift, you get real anxious, and there's a chance you won't get home again. The river holds the secrets of a lifetime. Its depths and shallows will swirl with mystery. Through flood or drought, the water follows one law. Flow on to the everlasting sea. of me, but I need more to make my spirit whole. Baptize me once again in river water, that river mud anoint my prodigal souls. I grew from girl to man along the river. My roots grew tangled with the willow tree. The rocks and sand and mud were my foundation. I thought the water flowed only for me. I grew from girl to boy to man. I will get home again.
I invite you to take a deeper breath, to find yourself connected here and now down to this good earth, to settle in more deeply for some shared words and then a shared silence. And those of you who were at Chalice Camp with me last week, I know you all can be silent for, I think it was 8 minutes. Is that what we did? So find yourself really comfortable. You might lie on the ground even, whatever is good for your body to be still and quiet together. A time for centering. Near the center of Rome is the Basilica San Clemente, whose 17th century architecture seemed ancient to my American eyes. But underneath, down stone stairs excavated by those curious about what lies underneath the surface of things, lies another basilica built 1,200 years before, in the early days of Christianity's adoption as the empire's religion. Deeper still, the tunnels went down 800 more years of human habitation, and there they found a temple to the god Mithras, which seemed to have evolved from a simple home built by a freshwater spring, whose sweet waters still flow. O God that springs clear in sacred waters and in the living communities that gather around them, let us remember the waters that flow beneath the surface of things. Remind us of our deepest thirsts. Lead us to the places where our ancestors have been nourished. When centuries of human struggle and the stones we place in the name of security get between us and the sweet waters we seek, wash it all away. Tear down our misplaced dams. Ripple in our hardened hearts. Sweep through the dry riverbeds of our ossified beliefs. Soak us in holy wildness, that we may find again that source from which life springs. In this community of care and witness, we hold one another through the seasons of our lives and lift up those joys and sorrows among us. Today, Luana, Elaine, and Kathleen want the congregation to know their mother, Grace Ulp, is in home hospice care, stable for now. May Grace feel our love surrounding her. Today, later this afternoon at 2 o'clock here in the sanctuary, we'll celebrate the life of Lee Perry. Many of us know her as Lee Lawrence. May all who loved her know she is held in the loving embrace of this community. We're thinking of Anne Riley and Terry Stokes, invited to keep them in our thoughts. Nadine Robbins-Levieux asks that we keep my brother in our thoughts. Veronica Medina Ross and Joel Cox share they are praying for Mary Ruth Cox, our dear mother who passed away Sunday, August 4th. May she rest in peace and surrounded by love and light. And Robin Harley is thinking of her mom, Anne Harley, who passed away almost a year ago. And Anne Wardell, thinking of her brother Bob, who is home after 2 strokes. Saskia and Nada offer prayers. Everyone has a peaceful and restful end of summer and fall. And Pierce Sun Ho celebrates happy birthday to my Luke, turning 9 today. Happy birthday, Luke. For all that we have named aloud and all that yet remains in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, perhaps too tender yet for words, for all the peoples and struggles around the globe that tug on our hearts, may we know that whatever each of us brings here is held in the loving embrace of this community, and by that wider, deeper love beyond all naming, that love that cannot, that will not let us go. May it be so, and amen. Let's stay seated now as we sing together. There's a river flowing in my soul.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing
Did anyone here or anyone you know start school recently? Yeah, school year is starting. Some of us know people starting the school year. Is anybody still not yet started? Like school's about to start to come? Oh yeah, Kathleen, yeah. When are you starting? All right, excellent. So we've got people started last week, the week before, starting later. It's weird though now, isn't it? I remember the elder in my church growing up who said, school nor water communion should happen before Labor Day. But here we are. And so I wasn't ready when school started on Wednesday. I was not feeling ready yet. And the new shoes, they didn't arrive until Friday. And my thoughts, they feel a little bit like the clouds of fog that are still gathering around the redwoods and haven't yet condensed, haven't yet dropped down to form a cohesive body of water. And so it's good. It's good that we celebrate this ritual of gathering together, this ritual that Unitarian Universalists have been practicing for about 40 years now. This ritual that comes from a conference where people wanted to talk about the role of women in religion. It was a conference that radically changed the words that we use, the language we have as Unitarian Universalists for all sorts of things, but especially in our hymns. They found out, I think it was like 2/3 of the hymnal after that conference, no longer usable. But one ritual they did there was that the people who attended brought waters from wherever they were traveling from, waters that they would merge together at the conference. And the story as I know it is that some youth who were there at that conference went off to their national youth gathering, and they did this same ritual. They thought it was so great. And these youth leaders went back to their congregations, and so, like those clouds, carried droplets of water across the land, and now most Unitarian Universalist congregations celebrate this ritual of ingathering each fall. I guess it's still summer. Each beginning of our church year. And even though it's a fairly young ritual, just 40 years ago, it has this kind of ancient feel, and it started making me think about one ancient story of ingathering. Do you know the story of the prodigal son? You hear that parable that this guy named Jesus, you'll hear about him sometime, I'm sure. He would tell this story of the son who was kind of scattered. He didn't have the shoes on time for the beginning of school. He was that kind of a son. And he had gone off and done his scattered thing all over, and he came back. And the point of the story is that he was welcomed back. Like we all can be, like we can be when the ocean receives our waters from wherever we have traveled, whatever uncertainty we've had about whether we fit or belong or are valued or worthwhile, that there is this big ocean of love at the center of it all, ready to welcome us back in. I think that's what that story is about. But we are going to ask this question because it's not so easy, right, to practice that ocean of love as human beings. It's the question we're going to ask over this first series of worship services now through the end of September as we talk about holy habitats and holy inhabitants. And I think it's fitting that we start here in the ocean or at the delta where life is so rich, where life first emerges. This place of abundance. Now, how does a human being practice that radical, loving welcome of the ocean? How do we embody that love for one another, create that space for another to come and make their home in us and grow and flourish as life does in the ocean? So we'll be asking that question for a few weeks, maybe a lifetime, but at least for a few weeks. And also, how do we allow ourselves, like that vulnerable drop of rain, to be welcomed in and make our home in another? these practices of radical welcome, making the home for another, finding ourselves at home in another. These are the questions we're going to be asking in this first series of worship. And of course, when we talk about holy habitats, we can't really talk about it these days without looking around and seeing what a mess we've made of them, right? And what damage we've done to this home that we received. Doug Tallamy is an entomologist who I've been reading. My wife Caitlin turned me on to him, and he says in an anecdote, actually, in his book called Nature's Best Hope. We'll talk more about that. But he says every major river in the world now, at its mouth, has a dead season. Now, we know that the ocean is acidifying, and while some jellyfish are going to just thrive with that, many other creatures are dying off. The coral reef home, this original home of life, is not going to be able to provide it anymore. So we're going to need to grapple as we think about welcome and care with how do we live in this time that we've named now the Anthropocene, this time when humans have changed our world around us. How do we live as our little small individual lives and our still fairly small collective life in the face of all of that? But one way that we will is to acknowledge our grief and celebrate the joys that come. This month, did you see the news that the Klamath River is flowing for the first time in, I think it's 100 years? This project led by the indigenous community of the area to remove the dams that were built there has allowed the waters of life to flow once more. There is new possibility. Life always emerging. I want to tell you what the leader of the organization, Barry McCovey, said. He's the director of the Yurok tribe's fisheries department. And he said, from an engineering perspective, when you build a highway or build a bridge, you do the ribbon cutting ceremony and everything's beautiful and brand new. And that's the best it's ever going to look. Over the years, it's going to degrade. It's just going to get worse and worse. River restoration, dam removal projects are the opposite. Said when you do the ribbon cutting ceremony, it's the worst it's going to look. Because the heavy equipment just pulled out, it's muddy, it's dirty, it doesn't look like a river yet, but come back in a year, come back in 10 years, come back in 20 years, it just gets better and better and better as the ecosystem fixes itself. May this ceremony of water communion that we celebrate now be such a ribbon cutting. May the waters that we merge and flow together as we begin this year of being church together be the beginning of new life, new rivers flowing among us, within us, and beyond us, that we might be that community that nourishes those here and those beyond our walls. I'll invite you to come on down through the center aisle. If you brought water, great, bring it down and pour it into this center vessel. If you didn't, there's plenty of water here on the table. All you need to do is drop a couple of drops in. There's a lot of us here. A couple of drops into the center vessel to represent those waters that you bring and merge. And if you want to call out while you bring your drops a blessing that you've received from the waters, or a blessing your soul thirsts for, I invite you to call it out in a word or a phrase as you pour your water in, or just know it silently in your heart, and then return to your seats along the aisles. I invite you forward for a communion of water. no river, no river. The ocean refuses, no river, no river. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. The ocean refuses, no river, no river. The ocean refuses, no river, no river. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
We invite you now into the spiritual practice of generosity. Instead of passing the plate, you can give electronically by scanning the QR code on the back of your badge, or you can put a cash or check donation into the donation envelope that you'll find in the back of the pew in front of you. Write your name on it and mark offering plate or pledge, and then put it into the donation box beside the fountain in the atrium as you leave the service. Each week, half of the offering plate is shared with the nonprofit Good Neighbor organization recommended by our wonderful Social Justice Council. Thank you so much for practicing generosity with UUCB and with our good neighbors. Offerings of any amount are accepted with gratitude. The good neighbor for this month is the East Bay Housing Organizations. EBHO mobilizes the power and wisdom of our members to produce, preserve, and protect affordable housing opportunities for low-income communities in the East Bay. Thank you.
As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down. Let's go down, come on down. Come on, brothers, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, fathers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, fathers,
Wow, how lovely was that? Please join me in dedicating our offering. We dedicate our offerings and ourselves to the mission of this congregation to create loving community, inspire spiritual growth, and encourage lives of integrity, joy, and service.
I want to share a few things happening in the life of our community. As always, you can go on our website, look at the week ahead to find out what's happening. But before I go, I'm going to invite Pierre Sun-Ho, one of our board co-presidents, to come up and offer one special announcement. You want to come on up to the podium? Yeah, that's probably easiest.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to invite everyone next Sunday from 9:30 to 10:30, the normal personal theology summer forum time, to an informational/QA session about the Ministerial Housing Fund. You might have seen in the last 2 beacons, I've been writing a column about the fact that we're going to soon be calling a congregational vote to refund or to make whole the Ministerial Housing Fund. And on the discuss list, we posted recently a FAQ about it, so hopefully you've seen it. And if not, feel free to email the board to get a copy of it if you haven't seen it already. I'm sure it'll go out in the week ahead also. But next Sunday, 9:30 to 10:30, an in-person Q&A informational session, and I'll also hold Zooms the week of the 26th, which will also be announced. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pierre, and all the leaders who have helped to make that possible. Also, next week, we are going to be honoring our Three Sisters Garden. We're going to be having our blessing, fall garden blessing, during the service. And the Honoring Indigenous Peoples group invites anyone to come and honor the harvest, sign up, visit them at their table in the atrium to sign up to bring something to the potluck that we'll have afterward. And we'll bless with these waters that we've gathered today, this holy place on our land. Also, next Sunday, it's going to be a busy day. We've got a Chalice Circle open house. These are our small group ministry. If you would like to be involved in a small group that gathers regularly to share more deeply what's happening in our lives and spiritual journeys, this is a wonderful way to get connected in our community. Come next Sunday after the service, stick around, and you can learn about how they work and how to be a part of one. And lastly, next Sunday, if you're brand new and you want to get a little more information just in general about our congregation, you can come meet Charis Domador, our lead for membership and communications, and she can share a little bit more about our congregation with you. You could probably just spend a few minutes there and then get to Chalice Circles if you really want to get involved. All right. Lastly, you might have read on the flyer you were handed as some of you entered the sanctuary today, retired physics professor and UCB member Harold Ogren will discuss the topic, is there free will, next. No? Was that an answer to the question, or no, it's not happening? Okay. That's today. Today after the service in the fireside room, and then stick around after that as we honor the founder of that group, the Humanist Circle, that meets regularly. No, I'm sorry. Sophia Room, thank you. It's going to be in the Sophia Room at 1 o'clock. And at 2 o'clock, at the same time as the memorial. Okay. And then there's a memorial in here at 2 o'clock. Okay. This is the last time I take comments from the back of the sanctuary. Okay. 1 o'clock in the Sophia Room for the Humanist Circle. And then at 2 o'clock, we'll honor the woman who got the Humanist Circle going here at UCB, Lee Perry, also known as Lee Lawrence. So stick around if you can for that. There's a lot happening here. Would you rise in body or in spirit one last time, and we'll sing a closing song. We're going to learn a new one. It's called The Tide is Rising.
But before the end.
Yeah.
The tide is rising, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The task is mighty, and so are we. The task is mighty, and so are we. The task is mighty, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The sun is shining, and so are we. The sun is shining, and so are we. The sun is shining, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The world is ready, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The tide is rising, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be.
Reach out and touch a hand or a shoulder or just out to the great beyond. Let us be connected. Connected as all the water that ever is, ever has been, ever will be in this world is connected. Connected as we are to one another and to an ocean that refuses no river, a love that welcomes us home again and again. May it be so, and amen.